Hey, welcome back to the latest episode of MSP Business School. I believe this is episode 18. We're
Yes.
starting to really cruise by now and go by quickly. And today we've got as our guest, Jon Rees, who's the head of technologies over at Allied Communications. And he also happens to be one of my co-hosts on our 10-minute talk set that we do every 10-minute tech talks, that we do every Friday. And you can catch that over at facebook.com/allied, I believe phone, right, Jon?
Allied Communications.
Allied Communications on that side.
Yeah.
So over on our Facebook page every Friday, we do a 10-minute tech talk. Love to have you guys view that as well. But today specifically, we've got Jon joining us to talk a little bit about, as we kind of continue our journey through this COVID timeframe, you know, where Allied's seeing some opportunity and some things that are helping them open the door as we get started. So with that, Jon, I'm going to turn it to you and love to learn a little bit about your backstory.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Hey, guys. Good to see you all. Thanks for inviting me on the show today.
Thanks for coming.
So
Glad to have you.
So Allied Communications, I mean, we opened in 97. We're a woman-owned enterprise. We're actually the 46th Avaya business partner that signed up. And, you know, our base was pretty much just phone communication, right? TDM services. That's how I started, you know, the ground up. You know, slowly moving into, you know, a little bit of everything else, VoIP, managed services, you know, and our biggest vertical that we concentrate on is casino hospitality. We actually stumbled on that, you know, many years back, and it's been great ever since. And, you know, we have a few, tons of opportunities in the casino hospitality realm with many different offerings that are unique to the business. But, you know, what I've done, I started in 2000.
I got to stop you there, Jon. You're being a little, you're being a little coy and a little bit shy about how well you guys have done in the casino. I mean, at this stage of the game, you own over 50% of the Atlantic City area, and what's it, about 43% of the Strip, or give or take?
It's about 37% of the Strip. And well, when Atlantic City was, you know, doing great, 60% of Atlantic City, and. Wow. Yeah, I mean, we have a great offering. Let's just say that. I mean, we have a little mix between hosted enterprise and you know, just premise based, where we have a great partner that pretty much just, I mean, my team pretty much calls them the what are they called?
The savant.
The savants of enterprise communications. I mean.
Jeez.
Call it 5,000 endpoints with a cutover of maybe 10 minutes downtime. I mean, that's like unheard of.
Yeah,
I mean, wow.
It's a really interesting program to dive in, and you know, Jon's a wonderfully humble guy. But you know, for those looking at the enterprise and for those casinos, it's really an interesting program because it allows you to leverage some of the hardware that you've got in your existing environment today, and basically build a private cloud around it. You know, removing those CapEx costs. And then really driving an OpEx cost as you would expect in the cloud, but even when things remain on premise, that comes to play. So, you know, kind of part cloud, part hardware as a service, but most importantly, flexibility for these casinos to grow into it. So, Jon, I hope you don't mind me jumping in there on that, but
no,
you know,
please do.
It's really an amazing you know, offering, and we see that it really fits almost anybody that's about 1,000 ports and up. So.
Well, it's not even just the high end. It's the density, right? The density of unused phones. When you think of hospitality, you have a ton of phones that are unused, right? And then when you move over to UCaaS, no business wants to pay a monthly charge for all these unused phones, right? $25 a set. You're looking at millions a month for something that's not being used. And we're able to, you know, bring that all down to the port, basically by you know, the hardware that you, like you, Brian already said, the hardware you could potentially already own, and we're able to reuse all that, get you up to date, manage all your coverage and your maintenance, 5-year agreements, and no upfront costs to the end user. And that's instead of paying millions of dollars up front for coverage, you're able to spread that over 5 years, and it's, you know, it's a great capital operating expense for these casinos, you know, with their peaks and valleys, right?
So what I gotta know, like how the casino industry?
That leads me that leads me to one of our great hires. Back when probably early 2000s. His name is it was early 2000s, right? His name is Chris.
Give or take.
Yeah.
Might have even been a little bit earlier than that, believe it or not.
Yeah. He was actually, just looking for a new opportunity. He wanted to do something different. And he's, he was a friend of the family, and he actually went to my uncle and was like, I need to do something different. So he talked to my uncle. He said, I want to either do, work on phones. Everyone's always gonna need a phone. Everyone always has picks up a phone to call somebody, right? Or he wants to be in banking. And my uncle's like, well, I have this person and this person here today, right now. Who do you want to talk to? Phones or bank? And he picked actually my father, who started the company. And he says, I want to talk to Jon Rees. I feel like that's a great opportunity. So, and starting at the bottom, learn the game, learn the systems, and they stumbled upon a list of ending leases, and one of them was Tropicana. And they were thinking, orange juice, sure, I'll call Tropicana. We'll get a couple couple gallons of OJ, right?
Yeah.
It's the worst that can happen. And actually, the first call in, we actually spoke. Chris spoke to a longtime friend and actually a past employee of ours, Bill Hogan, who pretty much they befriended pretty quickly and got him in the door. And it's history ever since. I mean, it's just how we got in that door, and those opportunities and those relationships just brought him to some of the larger casino enterprises in the country. And he just has a great story to tell. I mean, I'm not fully engaged in that part of the house, but I mean, he's so passionate about it. I mean, it's all about, customer experience, the amount of applications that we have in this APCS solution. And it's all about keeping the customers happy. I mean, when you come to casino hospitality, you have the big whales, right? When they call into these systems, they need to be answered immediately.
Yeah.
We have, stuff, in place to make sure that these whales and, of course, everybody else are answered in a timely fashion. And, their experience level is through the roof, right? They want to come back. And we have a great story to tell in that industry.
Wow. Now I'm going to stop you there for a second,
very
John,
cool.
this really goes into what, Tim and Rob preach all the time. And the key thing that I heard there was timing, right? Your rep was working a list. He was working a list on expirations, got himself into an opportunity, and that opportunity has really changed his life. I mean, Chris does well and has done well for a very long time. So, it really goes back to those contract end dates and really making sure that you're making those calls, not only to get the education, but at the right time. And I know that's something that we talk about all the time when people ask about, how can I accelerate sales? Put in the effort, do the legwork, find the timing, right?
Yep. Yeah. Hear that enough?
So with that, John, let's change, shift gears a little bit to something that you and I were talking about offline and really kind of put us together today. You're seeing as we head into this kind of, mid-COVID, somewhat post-COVID, at least with people returning back to work, culture, that there's a lot of new challenges that are out there. Certainly a stronger remote workforce, less people within the office, and certainly a lot more folks that are willing to do business by phone versus by the in person, right? So tell us a little bit about what you've been experiencing and what you think some of the next steps might be out there in the marketplace.
Well, it's definitely still not over yet. I mean, I'm dealing with customers day to day that are planning to literally work from home at least for the next year or so. They're closing their doors and they're cutting the leases off early and just kind of going home. And really, the only way to do that is with UCaaS and CCaaS. I mean, everything as a service, it's already built in the cloud. It's ready to take home and ready to work from anywhere, right? I mean, we're pretty much all set up to work from home today, and it's about keeping in touch with your customers. Like what we're doing right now, Zoom, right? Zoom, Teams.
Yep.
It's all about staying connected. And most people aren't still letting us in the door. So this is the only way to do it.
So talk a little bit more, about how these technologies are really improving that experience, both for the workers remotely and then for the businesses that, are implementing it.
Well, let's go over to CCaaS, right? Call center as a service. When it comes to customer experience and pretty much agent experience as well, the agents need to be able to have the tools to work from anywhere and working from home these days. I mean, I'm sure we've all called call centers in the past, few months and noticed that they've been working from home, right? And CCaaS pretty much gives these agents all the tools they need. The managers can supervise from where they are at home, listen into these calls, view these agents' monitors to make sure that they're doing all the correct things, correct. They're making sure they're saying their name, the products, they're selling the products, they're supporting the products. Everything that can be enabled in a CCaaS environment is pretty much infinite, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can integrate with your CRM tools. So it's a caller calls in, screen pops up, all the information's right there. Support ticket comes in, screen pop again, and those past interactions are there. So that agent is already knowledgeable about this customer's past interactions, whether it be good or bad. So the agent already knows what they're getting themselves into. Great tools to have. I mean, in the office, at home, I mean, pretty similar there, but the fact that they can work from anywhere in these times really enables these businesses to continue making these sales and supporting their current customers from anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing example that I experienced this week was, well, I'll give you a good example and a bad example. The bad example is I was calling into a particular hardware company, and 4 different times I went into their phone system, got passed around and got disconnected, right? Bad customer experience. I was ready to pull my hair out and pretty much looking at alternatives while I was getting dropped. The other side was then I had to call my daughter's university so I can make my lovely tuition payment for the upcoming year.
Bet they picked up.
And no, they actually, to be candid, they couldn't pick us up right away. But what I got into was that experience where at least I knew what my hold times were. I had the option to drop off for a callback. But more importantly, what I came to realize when I talked to the person, I forgot to take myself off mute today. And I'm like, oh my God, don't hang up as I'm scrambling because I'm on my computer. So I'm looking for my soft phone underneath the other 10 tabs. And, and I'm like, please don't hang up on me before I do mute. And, of course she can hear me. And she goes, well, I saw that your number was still connected on my cell phone, on my soft phone. She actually said that. So I knew you didn't go away. So I was giving you some time. I thought I was going to have to call in and wait another half hour. Yeah. All I want to do is give you guys a bunch of money. So, it really, the point there is with these remote workers and them having the tools and intelligence, they know how to respond. This woman knew enough to say, okay, he didn't drop off, so he's just fumbling around over there on the other side, which makes sense since we kept him on hold.
That's probably every call that she does during the day.
All day.
No doubt. But, it makes a difference, right? The hardware company, I was ready to kill, even though each one of those calls probably only took 2 minutes with them because I was kept statused and updated for 30 minutes. Even though I didn't enjoy the 30 minutes, I knew I had to stay on. But the point was I dn't feel like I was left alone during the 30 minutes, just wondering.
Yeah.
So anyway, enough about my experiences. We're here to talk to Jon. But, with that being said, Jon, talk a little bit about, I just kind of hit a couple ideas that are going on, but where else do you see contact centers really being able to enhance the experience? I've heard a little bit about skills-based routing. What does that mean to me?
Oh, well, skills-based routing is used in many different contact centers, right? You're able to skill a specific agent, whether, their skill set is more on supporting the product or maybe a different language, right? That's where it mostly comes in. If you want a Spanish speaking agent, you press 3 for Spanish, right? And it's going to be routed to the agent that's highest skilled in that language, right? If that agent isn't available, the highest skilled, the next highest skill is going to be next in line to be answered, right? They may not be proficient in Spanish, but they're going to be just as good, almost as good enough to take that call, right? And it's not even just specifically down to one agent. It could be down to like skill groups, right? So if you have certain days of the year, your service skill, your service queue is number 1 priority. So you might want to add that skill to that, a higher skill to that group. So that queue, everything in that queue is answered prior to anything else. Like that's their priority level. That's kind of like how you can use skill levels on a basic way in a call center today.
Beautiful. And, what are some of the other advantages, when you think about remote workforce and how, CCaaS can potentially help a business, improve their communications, collaboration, or maybe reducing structure and
I mean,
cost?
if you don't have to manage all that on premise, right? You don't have to pay those maintenance agreements. You don't have to pay just the power at your location, right? You're home. You're working off of either a business laptop or your own personal laptop, and you can really work off of a soft phone or even your cell phone if you needed to. Some of these CCaaS solutions, and it's all pretty much brought to you. Everything that you need in that solution is at your fingertips, which of course helps with training and agent. Like I said, agent experience too, right? The agents need to be happy to be working from home and interacting with these customers. They need the tools given to them to be proficient.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while we normally contact the CEIOs and the CFOs when we're talking about these projects, contact centers are a little bit different of an animal, right?
Oh
This
yeah.
really falls more into, some other roles within the business. You want to talk a little bit about that, and, where the chief experience officer kind of really is the person that might be guiding the ship at that stage?
Well, when it comes down to this, there's always a call center manager, right? The one who takes a look at all those analytics and making sure that SLAs are being delivered. And those are usually the contacts you want to speak to on what the current environment is like, what they lack, what they need. But it also helps to talk to the agents too, right? You want to know what kind of their experiences are and what kind of tools would help them, deal with specific things throughout the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these systems have grown well beyond just voice, right? There's this kind of omni-channel concept that lives today, meeting the customer wherever they live in order to open up tickets or communicate or anything like that. So, it's really interesting to see how you can start integrating social media aspects into this, text aspects into this. So really, no matter, it's the old, which generation you're talking to, and let them communicate the way they like to, right? But, the real truth is it's meeting them where they live. Do you support some of those systems today?
Oh, absolutely. Every kind of aspect of contact center, when it's, the old way of calling was call center, that's voice only. Omni channel contact center is exactly what you said. Voice, chat, email, social media, WhatsApp, any which way you can communicate. And again, I'm millennial, right? You pick up your phone, you want to chat, you want to just go on a website and click the little chat bot. A lot of these chatbots even start with a little AI robot, so you can answer some of the questions, the simple questions.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you can always, elevate to an agent and get transferred over and go from there. But again, SMS, it's just the simplest way to do things. Hey, where's my package? I haven't seen my new product come in. Yeah, where is it?
Today's modern day contact center now actually retains all that information in one repository as opposed to it being in 5 different systems. So it really makes that client experience, as you alluded to, a little bit better because you've got all the knowledge of all the different interactions, no matter what type with a customer.
Absolutely. And when it comes to other channels like that too, right? When an agent's taking a call, that's the only interaction they can really do. When it comes to chat, SMS, and email and social media, they can, depending on their skill level, multiple interactions at once.
Perfect. Anything else you want to add as we kind of wind down the conversation about contact center, its opportunity out there, where you're seeing it today? Anything else you want to add that you think might be helpful for MSPs today to be thinking about?
Well, it really comes out with multi-locations, of course, and you have to think about the companies that are doing a lot of end user interactions, whether it's supporting a product or selling a product, right? Or day to day. Even energy company is a great one too. Always probably a larger contact center that you need to call on a regular basis.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Okay. All right, great. So, one of the things that we always like to ask people is, being these, highly driven type people who are, moving themselves up in their careers, one of the things that we always struggle with is the work-life balance. And so, if you can, and especially, getting married, 2 years ago, I think you were saying.
Yeah.
Like how has that changed your work-life balance, and what do you do specifically now to have that decompression time that you're gonna need, and have the family time? So what do you do there?
Well, the work-life balance, it definitely took some time to get there. I'm sure you've all experienced that, right?
Mhm.
I mean, back before I got married, my after work life was pretty much just snowmobiling in the winter, quadding, motorcycles, any kind of power sports, right?
Mhm.
Just high end activity, just high adrenaline. And marriage definitely changed that a little bit. Now we'll go to the complete opposite.
It's all about vineyards.
Yeah.
Drinking helps.
Yeah.
But definitely vacations. You got to get away. You just got to get away from time to time and just turn off the phone.
Yeah.
Turn off the phone. Yep, for sure.
Yep.
So that leads to one other little segment within the segment that we've been doing. We've got a bit of a speed round where it's just 5 questions. Just I'll ask them quick, you answer them quick, and we kind of move on from there.
Cool.
So first one is text, talk, or Teams?
Ooh. Teams.
Teams. Okay. It's pretty consistent. Music, movies, or TV?
Movies.
Okay. All right. What age do you want to retire?
Now.
Fair enough. Windows or Mac?
Windows.
Okay. All right. And if you're to do anything outside of tech, what would it be?
Ooh. Test driving race cars.
Nice.
There you go.
That would be cool.
Wow.
Very cool.
And I do have to add on that last question. I didn't want to break the flow on speed round, but man, that was a millennial answer right there. Retire now. Hey, Jon, really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Thank you so much for sharing some of your thoughts around CCaaS. For those of you that are watching us today, you can catch these episodes over at MSPBusinessSchool.com, or you can also catch it over at BCIO Toolbox and OSR Manage's websites soon. And last thing, of course, is anywhere you get your podcast. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.
That's right. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.